Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you, got a bit of a guns and gear video. Going to be actually mostly focusing on gun control because, honestly folks, I'm really getting tired of seeing the gun control people out there, getting to see the gun protest, the you don't have rights to your guns, the government constantly overstepping their bounds and in trying to infringe on my Second Amendment rights and in turn your Second Amendment rights and things of that nature. Let me dive on into today's video here a bit more, and let me show you something. Let me show you a video I just found. Well, that was really short and sweet. Let me recap that video here for you. So here we have a gentleman reaching into his pants, just kind of walking up all nice and quick like. Okay, draws gun out, sticks gun in woman's face. Man here steps behind him and draws his handgun out. Now, obviously, he must be... Obviously, he's a law-abiding citizen. I don't know if he's got a concealed carry permit because, honestly, I have no idea where this happened at. Might have constitutional carry laws where he lives or where this happened at. But he draws his handgun and fires a shot. Shooting perpetrator in the back of the shoulder. Perpetrator goes to run away. And he decides to fire a second shot, dropping said perpetrator, which, honestly, in my opinion... heat of the moment, perpetrators running away with gun. Yeah, I would have fired second shot too. So essentially, at the end of the day, law-abiding citizen defends another citizen with his firearm. The type of thing the anti-gun people doesn't want you to see. And in all honesty, this is the mass majority of firearm related incidents with a shooting with multiple people, we'll say, because there is quite a bit of firearm related things that happens. It's actually suicide. Understand, when you actually do a breakdown of firearm related deaths, there's a mass majority that is suicide. Or at least that's what a statistic from 2021 I seen shows me. 54%. Now, someone's going to be like, well, that's not a more up-to-date statistic. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's not a more up-to-date statistic. Actually, if I remember correctly, the more up-to-date statistic has it closer to 56 or 57% for 2022. So, yeah. It's actually worse. But we won't split hairs here nor there. Okay. And then, of course, these people also want to split hairs and say, oh, firearms is the #1 cause of death in the United States. But try more like number 12. Yeah. Honestly, I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. And even when you look at the numbers for kids... okay, first off, 18, 19, you're not a kid anymore. I know people still act like kids when they're 18, 19 years old, but seriously, you're not 18, 19 years old. You're legally an adult. Actually, if I remember correctly, in some states, legally you're an adult at 17. I could be mistaken. Either ways, okay? Yeah, you're not a kid at 18, 19 years old. Okay, that statistic is bullshit. And even... by the way, even the people who actually came up with those statistics said the statistic is bullshit. Moving on. So while David Hogg, what a name. David Hogg, you look like a hog. Hey boy, you look like a hog. That's a Deliverance reference for anyone who doesn't know. And yeah, go to YouTube, check that out, and get yourself a chuckle. But the anti-gun hero that David Hogg is, because he's a mass shooting survivor. Okay, no, he's not. He wasn't there at Parkland. He was skipping school that day. He was literally miles away when it happened, and basically all he's done is stand on the bodies of his dead classmates ever since to make money. Um, Here's your hard to swallow pill, buddy. Mass shootings are only happening really in gun-free zones. And don't get me wrong, there are some non-gun-free zones these are happening in, but a mass majority of them are happening in gun-free zones, particularly schools, government buildings, places of that nature, nightclubs, etc. And this has been since the 1950s is where this statistic comes from. This is a compiled statistic of every mass shooting from 1950 to June of 2019. So the question is what what when people are going to commit mass shootings, what are they looking at? Are they looking at the gun-free zones, the soft targets, or are they looking at the hard targets? Well, I decided to actually look deeper into that. And honestly, I got no evidence for you because I couldn't find anything. I went looking on the Google machine, trying to find if any mass shootings has happened in schools, in particular, since schools started hardening, particularly in Ohio, because they're one of the first states to start hardening schools. And also, when it comes to gun laws, they are one of the more liberal states for gun laws. And yeah, it seems like they haven't had any mass shootings. So it seems like when you have a situation where these liberals, the Democrats, they seem to think that if you have guns everywhere, that's going to promote gun violence. There's going to be more gun violence. There's going to be more mass shootings, blah, blah, blah. There's actually been no proof to actually even prove that is real, to prove that statistic is possible. Now, that being said, there is some highlights to back that up in certain regards because in states where gun laws are more liberal, there's more gun deaths. But when you start doing the breakdowns, what you start seeing is you start seeing higher higher probabilities of people defending themselves from criminals with firearms and said criminals getting killed in the process, and higher possibilities of suicide by firearm. That being said, though, when you start looking at, people being murdered by a firearm and mass shootings in those states where the gun laws are more liberal and there's less gun-free zones, you're seeing lower numbers of those type of incidents happening. Now, there's also the argument of, well, we don't want to turn the schools into prisons. Well, okay, if you're one of those anti-gun people watching this video right now, I want to pose you a really, really serious question. Do you want your kid to see this, or do you want your kid to see this? By the way, this is a security camera image from the Columbine shooting in 1999, which was during Joe Biden's Brady bill. Yes, Joe Biden's Brady bill failed, by the way, because that one kid there is holding a Tech 9, which, by the way, at the time was illegal. Oh, and by the way, they're both the kids in the picture there are underaged, and both those kids are armed to the teeth. And by the way, those kids that committed the Columbine shooting also had explosives, which is highly regulated and was illegal for them to have. So, yeah, what did laws and regulations and etc. do to prevent the Columbine shooting from happening? I'll wait. And then, of course, we just had a recent shooting at the Atlantis Beach Baptist Church. This is in Australia, where a kid, 15 years old, drove up in a pickup truck. I'm still fogging on the information where he got the truck. The rifles that he had were both hunting style rifles. Luckily, no one was injured. He just showed up and started randomly firing shots off in the air. Police showed up and apprehended said suspect, well, perpetrator. Either ways, like I said, no one was hurt. Thank God for small favors on that end. But this happened in Australia. This is a country where firearms are heavily regulated, including the hunting rifles that he illegally had in his possession. So once again, gun control proved to not work. Laws once again proved not to work. So, how much more proof do we need that criminals are criminals for a reason? They don't follow laws. That's why they're criminals. They don't care about laws. Why are we so focused on bringing in more laws to make it harder for the law-abiding citizen when the criminals don't care? Why are we turning law-abiding citizens into criminals? Just the constant turning everyone into criminals, such as with the ATF pistol brace ban, the ATF going after the FRTs, the California, as well as other states now. I guess New York is doing it, and even Pennsylvania, from what I understand, has been considering about putting in body armor bans. Why are we turning law-abiding citizens into criminals and making law-abiding citizens absolutely defenseless from criminals? And one final question I have for all of you watching this video right now, especially for you pro Second Amendment people like myself, why are we standing for it, and how much longer are we going to take it? Anyway, folks, help me out here. Comment down below, because the YouTube algorithm is definitely going to bury this video. Comment down below what's your thoughts about the Second Amendment and the protests, the whole 9 yards. Just what is your thoughts? And you know what? For it, against it, I don't care. You know, we do live in a free country. This is in America. We get the First Amendment, and the First Amendment is protected by the Second Amendment. And even if I don't agree with your opinion, I do want to hear it, because you know what? I do stand for both the First and Second Amendment, and I do cherish those very greatly. So please comment down below. Let me hear what you think, both sides of the story, because you know what? Even if you're against the Second Amendment and you're for gun control, maybe you can sit there and explain to me why, and I can have a better understanding in a whole picture of why you're for the Second Amendment. Because honestly, these clowns like David Hogg and all the other ones, these politicians, I don't understand it. They're just clowns. They don't paint a very good picture. And essentially, at the end of the day, the only reason they're for gun control is because money. And I want to hear from citizens, real, actual citizens. And same way with the people that are for gun or are pro-gun. I don't want to hear from the politicians. And I don't want to hear from the people that are making money from it. I want to hear from the people that are like-minded for myself, that believe in the Constitution, that believes in, it's there to stand against government tyranny, to protect themselves, to feed their family, the whole 9 yards. Of course, mostly to protect from government tyranny, obviously. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap to today's video up with that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.